There are moments in life when you pause for no particular reason and feel a strange heaviness inside you. Not the kind that comes from a bad day or a difficult week, but a deeper, quieter kind. A heaviness that feels like something inside you is cracked, but the crack is invisible. You can't show it to anyone. You can't explain it. And the worst part? You can't even explain it to yourself. You just know, at a level you can't put into words, that something is not whole. This feeling often appears when everything in your life looks fine from the outside. You have responsibilities, routines, relationships of some kind. You're functioning. You're surviving. Sometimes you're even doing pretty well by societal standards. But there's an internal voice, soft but persistent, saying something is off. It's almost like a quiet alarm your soul keeps activating, hoping one day you'll stop ignoring it long enough to understand what it's trying to tell you. People often describe this as feeling broken, but the word doesn't fully capture the experience. It's not that you feel shattered into pieces. It's more like a subtle but constant misalignment. Not completely broken, not completely whole. Somewhere in between. Floating. Disconnected. Like you're living behind a thin layer of glass. The confusing part is that when you look at your life logically, nothing seems bad enough to justify how heavy the feeling is. So you begin doubting yourself. You tell yourself to stop overthinking. You try to distract yourself. You work harder, socialize more, numb yourself with routines, or convince yourself that this is just what being an adult feels like. But deep down, you know this feeling is older than adulthood, older than any recent event. It feels ancient, like it's coming from a version of you that existed long before you learned how to pretend everything was okay. A wise mentor once told me, "The soul speaks in feelings long before the mind understands the message." And that line explains so much of what people call brokenness. What you're feeling isn't a flaw in your personality. It's a message from parts of you that were forced into silence. Parts of you that were abandoned emotionally, neglected internally, or hidden to keep you safe. You don't feel broken because something happened to you recently. You feel broken because something inside you hasn't been acknowledged in years. Let's go deeper into this. Imagine your inner world like a map. Some areas are familiar. The parts of you that learn to be responsible, polite, productive, and agreeable. Those are the parts the world approves of. But there are regions on this map you barely visit anymore. Regions where old emotions live. Regions filled with forgotten memories, unprocessed pain, abandoned dreams, and versions of you that were never allowed to fully develop. These regions form your shadow. You feel broken because you've been disconnected from this map. Let me give you an example. Imagine a child who grows up in a family that only praises achievement. If the child brings home good grades, they receive affection and attention. But when they express sadness, fear, or confusion, they're ignored or told to be strong. Over time, the child learns a dangerous survival strategy. My emotional self is not welcome. Only my productive self is. As this child grows into an adult, they continue performing strength even when they're exhausted inside. They ignore their emotional needs. They push through pain. They show up for others, but never for themselves. Eventually, the emotional self gets so buried that the person forgets how to feel anything deeply. But the buried self doesn't disappear. It waits. And the waiting shows up as brokenness. Or think about someone who grew up around conflict. Maybe their home wasn't violent, but the emotional atmosphere was unpredictable. The child learned to stay alert, to read the room carefully, to shrink themselves so they wouldn't trigger anyone. As an adult, this becomes anxiety, hypervigilance, emotional exhaustion. The person feels fragile, not because they are weak, but because their nervous system never learned what safety feels like. Safety feels foreign. And when safety feels foreign, brokenness feels familiar. There are dozens of scenarios like these. A child who never felt chosen grows up feeling unlovable for no clear reason. A child who had to be the caretaker grows up feeling responsible for everyone else's emotions. A child who was frequently criticized grows up with a self-esteem that cracks under the smallest pressure. A child who wasn't allowed to express anger grows up feeling numb or dissociated. And all of this creates a spiritual fracture, a psychological fragmentation that persists into adulthood as unexplained sadness, emptiness, restlessness, or emotional fatigue. The real reason you feel broken is because there are parts of you that never got to rest, parts of you that never got to be held, parts of you that never felt safe enough to exist freely. And now, Those parts are calling for your attention. So how do you begin to heal something you can't explain? The first step is to stop trying to find a logical explanation. Brokenness is not logical. It's emotional. It's somatic. It lives in the body, not in the mind. Healing begins when you allow yourself to feel the feeling without demanding an explanation. Sit with it. Breathe with it. Notice where it lives in your body. Maybe it's a tension in your throat, like a voice that's been held back. Maybe it's heaviness in your chest, like a weight of unspoken grief. Maybe it's a knot in your stomach, like fear that never had a chance to be processed. When you locate it physically, you begin reconnecting with the part of you that holds the story beneath the feeling. Next, ask yourself a simple question. Which version of me feels this way? Don't overthink it. Just allow the image to appear. It might be the child who felt invisible, the teenager who felt misunderstood, the young adult who felt lost. This feeling of brokenness is almost always a younger version of you sending distress signals. Another powerful step is practicing emotional honesty. Instead of telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this way, try saying, I'm feeling something important. Emotions don't become less intense by being pushed away. They become less intense by being seen, heard, and validated. Let's explore an exercise that can help you reconnect with your shadow. Find a quiet moment, close your eyes, and imagine yourself standing in a room with several doors. Each door leads to a different forgotten version of you. Choose one door and open it gently. See who is waiting behind it. Maybe it's a version of you sitting alone. Maybe crying. Maybe drawing on the floor. Maybe looking confused or scared. This version of you is the source of your broken feeling. Sit beside them. Ask them what they needed that they never received. Listen quietly. This one exercise alone can uncover emotional truths you haven't acknowledged in years. Another practical approach is to begin expressing emotions in small, manageable doses. If you can't cry easily, start by journaling for 5 minutes. If you struggle to identify feelings, use simple language: sad, lonely, tired, overwhelmed. If you've been emotionally numb, listen to music that moves you. Watch a film that touches your heart. Do something that reminds your emotional self that it's safe to exist again. One of the most underrated causes of feeling broken is emotional isolation. You might have people around you, but still feel emotionally alone. This happens when you've spent years hiding your inner world to avoid being judged or misunderstood. You learn to keep everything inside. And now, that internal buildup feels like brokenness. But the truth is, you aren't broken. You're overflowing with unexpressed parts of yourself. Let's address another misconception. People assume that healing means becoming the person you used to be before the pain. But shadow work teaches us that healing is not about going backward. It's about becoming someone new. Someone expanded, someone integrated, someone who can hold all their pieces without rejecting any of them. Think of a cracked bowl repaired with gold in the Japanese art of kintsugi. The cracks don't make the bowl ugly. They make it more valuable, more beautiful, more honest. Your cracks are not your flaws. They are the places where the light enters. They are the openings through which healing flows. You feel broken because the version of you that survived life is not the version that wants to live life. Your inner world is asking for alignment. Your soul is asking for authenticity. Your emotions are asking for attention. Your shadow is asking for integration. Now let me ask you a few questions. What if the version of you that feels broken is actually the version most capable of healing? What if the heaviness you carry is not a defect, but a doorway? What if nothing is wrong with you at all, and the feeling is simply your soul telling you, it's time to come home to yourself? You have not failed. You have not lost yourself. You have not run out of time. You are not beyond repair. You are simply being invited into a deeper relationship with yourself. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next lesson. And if someone you know carries invisible wounds, share this with them. You never know how much healing one message can bring into someone's life.